Disclaimer: no minivans were harmed, but expect increased admiration for perfectly aligned lawn stripes.
Hey, welcome back to Dad Space, podcast for dads by dads. Glad to be with you. It's March DadNess. Yeah, I know. You expect March Madness, but I changed the words. I can do that. It's my podcast, right? Okay. March DadNess, we're talking today about making some halftime adjustments during the game called life as a dad, and navigating some of the mistakes and kind of some reset moments for us as dads. So you're in the right spot. So welcome to Dad Space. I'm Dave. I'm a dad. I'm also a grandfather. I know, you're like, how is it even possible? I know. But I am. And yeah, it's fun. Welcome to Dad Space. So I'm retiring to bed last night, getting ready to go to bed. I go in the room, and my wife's out in the living room, and I'm going to bed. And I walk in, and there's a teddy bear tucked into my bed on my pillow. And for background, my granddaughter, my grandson, and my son are living with us at the moment. Love having him here with us. And I had the whole day with my grandkids yesterday, and just the three of us. And that was how my granddaughter showed me some love at the end of the day. Like, come on, right? Sitting there all tucked in, one of her favorite toys in my bed. And that's a thing now, I guess. And it kind of made me stop for a moment and go, wow, like the impact you can have on your grandchildren, on your kids, to the point where they display, unprompted, they display their own admiration and love and do something kind for you as a grandparent, as a parent. Like, wow, unprompted, like nobody told her to do that. It was just the three of us in the house for the day. And that's how she showed her love. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, it made me stop. And I thought my wife was playing a trick on me, and she did it, but nope, she had no idea. She came in, she's like, what's this? So I love that stuff, right? So those are the moments, right? So my thought for you as that was happening, I was thinking, dads, when these little things happen, do something to remind yourself of those things, because you're going to forget them. I promise you, after 25 years of being a dad, your kids grow up and move away, you're going to forget those little moments. So I wanted to capture it here. I just wanted you to raise your radar. As a dad, as a grandfather like me now, that these things matter. They really do. And your impact on your kids and grandkids. It's really, really important. Don't take it lightly. March DadNess, everyone. I'm excited to have you here. So teams prepare for their seasons. They prepare for their next game. They do practice. They do all their, workout. They do everything. They practice all their plays. They do all this behind the scene work to get to the game. And then the game happens. And just because the game is in progress doesn't mean that tweaks aren't possible. Doesn't mean that you're locked and loaded and you can't make any adjustments in real time. Sometimes you need to adjust to how the other team is playing, to weather conditions, to maybe one of your star players gets hurt. You have to change. You have to make a change and call up Buddy Jr. from the bench who never gets to play. You have to be able to adjust in real time. And I think that as we look at our life as dads, sometimes we need to make those halftime adjustments where we tweak what we're doing. Maybe it's not working. Maybe it doesn't have the right impact, the right effect, the right result. So we have to change what we're doing and adjust. So that's my challenge for us as dads, is I want to think about our halftime adjustments as dads. Every game has setbacks. Great teams adjust. They don't just play the plays that they practice, but they adjust in real time. And I think in fatherhood, it's not about playing a perfect game. It's about making the right adjustments when things go wrong. And I think we talked about this here on this podcast, that there are times that we just are not at our best. We make poor decisions. We lose our cool. Our plan blows up in our face and our kids drop the ball. Something happens, right? The question isn't, will we make mistakes? It's how do we respond to mistakes when they happen? How do we pivot? How do we not just wallow in the mistakes, but how do we still win the game? Because teams make mistakes all the time. Bad plays, bad calls, things out of your control. And you need to learn how to adjust. You can't just focus on what happened, but how you're going to rebound, how you're going to pivot, alter your plans, and how you're going to win this thing. It's really important. I know you never want this to happen, but sometimes you're going to lose your temper. Every dad has that moment when patience just runs out. It could be because you're tired, exhausted, you've worked too much, you haven't been taking care of yourself, you're not eating, you're not sleeping, whatever. These moments pop up in your face. Tempers flare because of stress, fatigue, high expectations that are put on us or we put on ourselves. And then the damage is unchecked when our anger takes over and becomes the cause. I know I didn't get this training when I was a young dad, but when things go wrong, things fall off the tracks, and anger is right there at the edge, right? Just bubbling up and brimming at the top there. We need some kind of reset routine to pause, own the moment, own the mistake, own the situation, and then return to calm before we speak. Too often we react in real time, and once those words leave your mouth, you can never get them back. And like I said with my granddaughter giving me that teddy bear and sticking it under my blankets and my pillow at night before she went to bed, they are watching. They are such a big sponge right now. And don't mess this up, guys. Don't mess this up. Because you're teaching them far beyond ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. You're teaching them how to be a good human being. It's very important. Sometimes stepping out of the room isn't quitting. It's not retreating. It's not running away from the situation. It's calling a timeout. So you can come back with a clear head. They do it in games all the time. They call time. And everything stops. Everyone resets. They come back to the bench. They come back to the sidelines. They regroup with it as a group. They say, okay, we're not going in the right direction right now. Here's how we fix it. Here's how we're going to counter what's happening on the field, on the ice, in the moment. We're going to go this way. We usually go this way. We're going to go that way instead. Calling a timeout is not quitting. Otherwise, every professional sports team has quit. If that's what you think quitting is. So they're not quitting. They're resetting. I want you to rewrite that script for yourself. That modeling self-control, even after it falls apart, is super important. Your kids need to learn how you adult, not just how you parent. Those are going to be tools in their tool chest. And if you think they're not paying attention, they are. And they're going to demonstrate what they see in you. So do that. So when we mess up, take a pause, clear your head, don't overreact. But what happens when your kids mess up? When kids fall, and when kids make mistakes, reaction teaches more than our words ever could. When your kids fail, shift from punishment to partnership. Help them to process the failure rather than just fear it, or fear you, or fear telling you about the failure. Use phrases like, well, let's figure out what we can learn from this, instead of, what were you thinking? I know you've said those words. If you haven't, you will. What were you thinking? Like, what's wrong with you? Those are not great words to build upon. Use phrases, again, that build the kids up. Like, what can we do to fix this? How can I help you? What can we do here? And build an environment where failure feels safe to recover from. Those players on the field, they're not perfect. They're going to screw up. They're going to miss a catch. They're going to miss a throw. They're going to miss a hit, whatever. They're going to make mistakes. But they don't stop playing. Even with all the eyeballs watching them, they still keep playing. I think this is how a good coach looks at mistakes on film. It's not to shame the players, but to build better habits. That's why they do review game tape. So review your game tape and figure how you can move from punishment to partnership with your kids. And you're thinking probably, well, that's great, Dave, but what do you do if you've already made a mistake? What do you do when you already crossed that line and you've done the wrong thing at the wrong time? How do you apologize as a dad? Well, I think apologizing, first of all, doesn't weaken your authority as a dad. It strengthens your relationship with your kids. So use clear language. Name what you did as a dad, how it impacted them from your perspective, and what you're doing differently next time. Hard to have that conversation with a 1-year-old, but you need to model it to some degree, even when your children are small. And model humility. I was wrong to yell. You didn't deserve that. I'm so sorry. And turn it into a teachable moment for your kids. Really think that kids learn responsibility from watching you own your own actions. Again, they're watching you to learn how to be an adult, not just a parent. I think that's really important for us. And it's self-reflective. It's a moment for you to be in check with yourself. Because if you're not going to check up on yourself, there's a good opportunity that you might be on the wrong path. So apologize as a dad. Own it. Own your mistake. Don't bury your mistakes. Own it. And you'll see better results from your team, meaning your family. So what are we teaching through our example? I think we're teaching resilience to our kids. Your kids are watching how you recover from a setback, from a failure, from a misplay. Not just how you win. We focus so much on the win. What are the wins of the week? What did we do? How did we win? What's your win? What's your win? But we don't focus on the plays and how we recover. Show them how bouncing back is normal. It's not exceptional. It's a normal part of life. And celebrate progress, not perfection, with your kids. Let them see you progress through life. Not showing the perfect you, but the person that's in progress, the person that's developing. And turn your setbacks into a shared lesson that you can teach from. It becomes your platform. Maybe a family halftime talk tradition when things don't go as planned. Get the team back together again. Take them off the field. And let's talk about what's happening right now in this moment. I think that resilient kids, they're not just born, they're built by parents who keep showing up after tough days. That's what we need as parents. And this March DadNess is to look at that halftime realignment, make the necessary changes, go back out on the field and try a different approach. And realize when you make the wrong decision, the wrong play, you made a mistake. Own up to it, figure out what's next, pull them together, let your kids see you again, not just parent, but let your kids see you adulting. I think as dads, all of us have these halftime moments, those pauses when we realize that something's off with our partnership, with our wife, with our kids, at work, with our friendships. We need those moments where we take a pause, take a knee, right? Growth happens when we use feedback to adjust, reconnect, and re-engage with those around us. And I think that the scoreboard up there, the big numbers that everybody watches during the game, that doesn't define the season. The response to adversity is what we should be keeping score on. You don't need to be a perfect player in that first half. You just need to have the wisdom to adjust at halftime. I think if we keep going down this path as March DadNess, we've got another episode coming up as well. That the whole goal of this is I just want to use that sport analogies in the background to kind of reframe our parenting as dads. And the better we can be for our kids, the better example we'll be for them, the better communities we're going to have in the future, the better world we're going to have. Because our kids saw not only how to deal with the wins, but how to deal with the losses and the epic screw-ups and the bad plays and the bad decisions. Because Dad showed me how to do that. He lived it in front of me. And he wasn't afraid to admit when he made a bad play. I think that's the best gift we can give our kids. So for you, I hope, as a dad, that you find a teddy bear tucked into your bed at night. As a grandfather, you find your granddaughter's, grandson's toy tucked into your bed at night, and then you stop and pause in that moment and go, wow, what a responsibility in front of me on those days when I'm thoroughly exhausted, can hardly form a sentence. I feel overwhelmed by the sheer weight of everything on my shoulders in this moment. But my kids, my grandchildren, they love what I'm doing, and it resonates with them. It's the best gift ever. So that's my hope for you this week, is one of those moments will pop up and that you won't forget about it. You'll make note of it, and you'll celebrate it, as I have. Happy March DadNess, everyone. See you on the next episode. Hey, dads, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of the podcast. Thank you for following the show. I'd encourage you to do just so if you haven't done so already. Look at your phone. There's like a little follow button or subscribe, or I don't know what it says on your screen, but there's like a little button at the top of the screen. If you click that button, that means every time a new episode of Dad Space shows up, it goes right to your phone. It's waiting for you whenever you're ready. So you don't have to try to remember, what's the name of that show? Space Dad? No, Dad Space. It'll show up right there for you if you follow the show. That'd be great. If you listen on Spotify, like I do, I'm a Spotify user. You can actually leave a comment in every episode, and I will respond as your faithful host to any comments you leave in the episodes. So please jump in. Love to read your comments, your thoughts about the episode. That'd be fun. And if ever you just want to just hang out with another dad, you got a few moments on your time in your day, in your week, and you're like, I'd just like to grab a virtual coffee with Dave. You can always buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com, but you could also just join me for a virtual coffee and we could just chat about dad stuff. I'm always looking forward to meet the people who listen to this show. That brings me a lot of joy. So dadspace.ca, all the information in the show notes. And thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing this podcast with one other dad. I really appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Take care.